I chased after Mike for 5 years, and Mason chased after Hannah for 5 years. Later, on New Year's Eve, I waited for Mike at the cinema, but he never showed. He waited for Hannah at the amusement park, but she never came. Instead, we both simultaneously got their official relationship announcement on Moments. In the end, we put our heads together. He said, "How about we pair up? We know each other inside out." I was silent for a moment, then nodded. Okay. Then we rushed to try on wedding dresses, pick a venue, choose an auspicious date, and write invitations, determined to get married before them. Later, when I was dazzled by all the venue choices, Mike knocked on my door. Outside, he clenched his teeth, eyes slightly red, and asked me, "Are you serious? Are you really going to marry Mason? Have you thought this through clearly?" On New Year's Eve, I was in the shopping mall on Central Street, watching the hydrogen balloons fly outside and countless couples embracing. Movie ticket clutched in my hand, snowflakes fluttering down. I couldn't quite describe the feeling, just that after liking Mike for so many years, it still hadn't worked out. My phone vibrated. I glanced at it. It was Mason, Mike's younger brother. The chat screen showed. She didn't show either. Mike, Mason, and I grew up together. Later, I liked Mike, and Mason liked my roommate. I urged him to help me, and I helped him. But unfortunately, on New Year's Eve, he didn't get Hannah, and I didn't get Mike. Slowly exhaling a turbid breath, I was about to leave. Then I got a call from Mason. It was noisy on his end, but his voice was clear and a bit hoarse. "Did you see my brother and her Moments?" At that moment, a sense of foreboding washed over me. My hand holding the phone and the one hovering over the screen hesitated, afraid to tap. It felt like if I tapped, everything would change. In the end, I did. Lots of people were showing off their relationships on New Year's Eve. I scrolled down a bit and saw it. The moment I saw the photo, my bewilderment overshadowed the hurt, because the photo they posted together was of them in their school uniforms. In the photo, Mason and Hannah stood on the school playground, smiling and making peace signs at the camera. Both were smiling happily, but Mike rarely smiled when taking photos with me. Hannah also wasn't willing to take photos with Mason. Hannah was my high school classmate. For a while, she had conflicts at home, so I started boarding at school. I refused to go home either. My parents had no choice but to ask Mike and Mason to bring me things. Over time, Hannah got to know them. But when did those two start liking each other? Mason and I were like fools, moths drawn to the flame. For a long time, I couldn't speak. It felt like something was stuck in my throat, terribly uncomfortable. Mason hadn't hung up either. He was also silent. Finally, he said, "Are you still at the cinema?" Hearing this, I hummed an affirmation. "Then wait for me there. I'll buy tickets again and we'll go watch it." "Okay," I replied. It was a bit awkward, but luckily he was there to be awkward with me, so I didn't feel so bad. While waiting for Mason to arrive, I didn't dwell on the clues between them from before. My mind was just blank. I didn't cry either. I just felt it had all happened too fast. I don't know how long passed. My legs had gone numb from squatting when I finally saw Mason appear near the escalator. He had dyed his hair red a few days ago. He said "New Year, new blaze," and the red hair also meant good fortune was coming his way. I had originally wanted to dye my hair red too, but he did it first, so I just got a milky tea brown. When he saw me, he quickened his pace and came over. I waved my hand at him. "Help me up. My legs are a bit numb." Mason reached out and helped me up, looking at my face with a smile. "Not bad you didn't cry." I used my hand to massage my numb legs. The sensation was oddly satisfying. "You too." "Hey." He waved his hand. Let's go, let's go. It's almost time." We both tacitly agreed not to bring it up again. After the movie, he walked me home. Only after washing up did I see the message Hannah had sent me. "Dawn, Mike and I are together. Are you angry?" I closed my eyes, feeling irritated as I lay on the bed, and sent back expressionlessly, "No." Who she got together with was her freedom, even if it was Mike. But I considered her a friend. Happily and excitedly, I shared every moment of my youthful crush on Mike with her. Yet she never told me anything. I chased Mike for so many years, and then they got together. Sadness and anger almost filled my chest. I wasn't angry because it was her that Mike got together with, but because she never told me she also liked Mike. When I shared my pursuit of Mike with her, what was she thinking? Was she also laughing at my overestimation of myself? This suddenly made me feel she was strange and terrifying. The moment I sent it, she seemed to expect my response. I'm sorry, Dawn. I'm so glad you're not blaming me. It's not that I didn't want to tell you. I just didn't know where to start. Her text was a bit long. I exited the chat and removed her from my favorites. Finally, she asked me, Dawn, shall we go eat that barbecue place on Central Street tomorrow? I knew she was testing me, testing if I was really angry, but I wouldn't be friends with her anymore. Whether I was angry or what she thought didn't matter. No, I'm a bit tired today. I'm going to sleep now. After a while, she didn't message back, but Mike did. I pursued Hannah. I liked her first. Dawn, I hope you don't blame her or take your anger out on her. How should I put it? I really liked Mike before. It was the kind of affection that filled my heart and eyes to the brim. But now, seemingly overnight, I suddenly felt a bit sick, nauseous. How could their liking and getting together be so sudden? But they treated Mason and me like clowns, enjoying the good things we did for them, then turning around and saying, thanks for liking me, but I don't like you. I could accept any outcome, but I couldn't accept that the person I'd liked for so many years turned out to be such a jerk. In the end, I didn't reply. I just sent screenshots of those 2 messages to Mason with the caption, did you get any? After a while, Mason sent me screenshots too, the ones Hannah had sent him. Basically, it was thanking him for liking her all these years. Mason, tell me in 5 years, why didn't she ever tell me she liked my brother? Dawn, we're not that pathetic, are we? Knowing they liked each other and still liking them. Chased for 5 years, but liked them for even longer. I said, I was just unlucky meeting them. But I don't want to see them again in the future. But I guess we'll see them tomorrow. And after we see them, we'll have to say it's okay, no problem. Even I think it's fake, but they have to hear it to be happy and feel at ease. As I typed, a wave of irritation washed over me. I wanted to just delete them, block them. Same here. Mainly, my brother just knocked on my door, asked if I was asleep. I didn't answer. Thinking about it is exhausting. The sadness is manageable. I've chased her for so long. I can accept it. It's just the feeling in my heart, you know? Why did it have to be those 2? How could they do this? Suddenly, an idea popped into my head. The next second, Mason's call came through. Since we were kids, we've both been restless, imaginative, often coming up with similar mischievous ideas. You think. I pouted. You say it. Ahem. Mason cleared his throat. How about we pair up? We know each other inside out. I was silent for a second. Even though I knew he couldn't see me, I nodded. Okay. We'll get married before them. Don't worry, leave it to me. I never knew Mason could be so efficient. Last night, I couldn't squeeze out a single tear to mourn my wasted years. I was deep in my feels, wondering if my feelings for Mike had faded during those hopeless years. Then this morning, really early, my mother was banging on my door like she was announcing the apocalypse, each knock louder than the last. Mom, what are you doing so early? I opened the door, hair a mess, but before I could finish my complaint, my mother clamped her hand over my mouth. Sweetie, you hurry up and get washed up and come downstairs. Quick. I was still half asleep, struggling to open my eyes. What's wrong? Your boyfriend is here to propose. My mother whispered excitedly in my ear. My mother used to always nag me to hurry up and find a boyfriend and get married. She even tried to set me up on blind dates for this. Seeing Mason here to propose today probably really made her happy. Huh. I was instantly jolted awake by those words. No way. Then I moved to the side and looked down at the first floor. Familiar faces were everywhere, along with gold gleaming under the crystal chandelier. I washed up, did my makeup, changed clothes, and went downstairs as fast as I could. Auntie Jiang, seeing me come down, smiled gently and waved me over. Dawn, come have breakfast first. Your uncle and I brought this from the tea house. Then she turned to my mom with an apologetic smile. Xiaoshu, our coming over so abruptly today must have startled you. Oh, what are you saying? We've watched these two kids grow up. The thought of them getting married and strengthening the family bond makes me so happy. Yes, yes. Two families who know each other inside out. There aren't so many rules. My dad chimed in. Mason was wearing a very formal suit today, his hair slicked back, sitting up straight. Your speed is unbelievable. I sat down next to him and took a bite of a shrimp dumpling. He whispered, well, I saw my brother wasn't home, and I thought if I brought him to your house to propose, you might feel bad. Hearing this, I just raised an eyebrow and said nothing. The parents were chatting enthusiastically about the wedding next to us. I think the 5th day of the lunar month is a good date. Good for weddings. Right, an auspicious day. Great, it's settled then. Mason and I were dumbfounded, exchanging glances. Why are they more anxious than we are? Mason leaned in and whispered, both sides are probably afraid we'll run away. Suddenly, I felt that made a lot of sense. My mom often mumbled in my ear, why are you young people less and less willing to get married these days? During this time, Mason and I were busy trying on wedding dresses, picking venues, and writing invitations. Mike and Hannah went on a trip to a nearby city together, posting on moments every day, looking incredibly happy. While waiting for Mason to change into his suit, I looked at the sea behind them in their photos, a bit dazed. Actually, planning a trip to that coastal city with Mason was something from a long time ago. I had mentioned it to Hannah. It's a coastal city. When I saw a blogger's video online, I sent it to her. Back then, I had planned to go with him on my birthday. But a few days prior, Hannah sprained her ankle, and I went to take care of her, so the plan was put on hold. I never expected the two of them to end up going together. What are you looking at? Mason came out in a black suit, a slight smile on his face. I didn't hide it from him and showed him my phone. He looked down, buttoning his cuff. When he looked up, I said, let me help you. After the buttons were done, he had finished reading too. He put the phone down and asked me, want to go? I shook my head, but then nodded. Yeah. Although Mike and Mason were twins, after a while, you could still tell them apart easily. Mike was the aloof type, always above it all, impatient. Whereas Mason's eyes were very much like Auntie's, crescent-shaped when he smiled, bright and beautiful. He had a sunny disposition and was emotionally stable. It's not because they went that I want to go. It's because I've wanted to go for a long time myself. My gaze was firm. Hearing this, Mason pushed me towards the mirror. Okay, I know. In the full-length mirror, we looked like a perfect couple well matched. The sales assistant standing nearby spoke up at the right moment. Miss and Sir are truly a perfect match. How's this one? Do you like it? He lowered his head slightly to ask me. I thought for a moment, a bit conflicted, pursed my lips and said, I feel like it's not that stunning. I gestured with my fingers. It's missing a little something. Mason looked at me and couldn't help but laugh, his eyes shimmering like starlight under the crystal chandelier. Sir or Miss, are any of these wedding dresses and suits satisfactory? The store manager came over to ask us, and seeing the hesitation in our eyes, carefully said, well, our store has a few wedding dresses arriving from abroad in a few days. Would you be willing to wait? I guarantee these dresses will be exquisite. We have pictures from the designer, and we can also explain the designer's concept to you. Is that convenient? I looked at Mason with a questioning gaze. He nodded. I smiled and said, okay. A few days later, the dresses arrived, and the store manager called us to come try them on. Mason had something come up at the company temporarily, so I told him not to bother picking me up, that I could go to the bridal shop myself. Just as I was about to leave, I saw Hannah walking towards me with a radiant smile, carrying a bag in her hand. Seeing me about to go out, she casually asked, Dawn, are you going out? I didn't answer her and asked her why she was looking for me. She smiled and handed me the bag. Here, some local specialties I brought back for you. Dawn, the coastal city is just like in the videos you sent me. The sea stretches endlessly. It's so photogenic. Oh, why haven't you liked any of my posts? She excitedly shared her trip with me. At that moment, I looked at this person I had known for so many years. We stood so close now, yet it felt like I had never truly known her. Suddenly, she stopped mid-sentence because her eyes landed on the diamond ring on my ring finger. Her expression shifted subtly, looking at me strangely. Dawn, you shouldn't wear a ring on that finger. Take it off. And when did you buy this diamond ring? It's beautiful. I glanced at the 10-carat diamond ring on my finger. Mason had bought it for me. He said our wedding was too rushed, we skipped the engagement, but we still needed some sense of ceremony, so he insisted on taking me to buy a ring. And honestly, when the assistant tried rings from 1 carat up to 10, the bigger the diamond, the more beautiful it was. I know, I said flatly. Then why are you? She started to speak, but I interrupted her. With a tight smile, I told her, I'm getting married. Huh. Hearing this, her expression froze for a moment. How can it be so fast? Have you gotten over Mike? When she realized what she had said, her expression suddenly turned very ugly, and she looked at me cautiously. My heart was calm. I just regretted not seeing her true colors sooner. She herself thought there was no way I could forget Mike in such a short time, yet she still wanted to reminisce about their happy moments in the coastal city right in front of me. She reached out and hooked my arm, shaking it playfully. Oh, don't be angry. Didn't you once say that if you ever got married, you'd definitely ask me to be your bridesmaid? This bridesmaid hasn't even met the groom yet. Her implication was clear. She wanted me to introduce her to my fiancé. There are people like this in the world. They covet anything belonging to others. They thrive on the sense of superiority and victory they get from taking things away. I didn't want to know if Hannah truly liked Mike, but I was quite curious if she had ever truly liked that silly guy Mason, who, countless times at her word, would drive dozens of kilometers from school just to take her home. I smiled sweetly. Sure. Really? Let's go then. Because of the delay caused by Hannah, Mason arrived at the bridal shop before me. The moment Hannah saw Mason appear in the bridal shop, the smile on her face vanished completely. She couldn't believe it. Her mouth twitched as she asked me why Mason was here. As her eyes widened in disbelief, I slowly walked forward and linked my arm through Mason's. The meaning was obvious. Mason looked down at me helplessly, then cooperated perfectly, saying to Hannah, We're getting married on the 5th of next month. You're welcome to come. How is that possible? Hannah shook her head in disbelief. She looked at Mason's expressionless face, unable to speak. You. She wanted to say something like, Didn't you used to like me? Is that it? I asked her innocently, Hannah, why is it impossible? She could get together with Mike overnight, so why couldn't we? Just as the atmosphere fell into silence, Hannah's phone rang. It was as if she just woke up from a dream. She fumbled in her bag for her phone. While she was answering it, I had already sat down on the sofa, and the assistant was laying out the newly arrived wedding dresses one by one in front of me. I picked up a piece of fruit from the fruit platter, popped it into my mouth, and pointed at her pale face, saying to Mason, See, even she knows this is wrong. There's no real empathy in the world. Hey, do you think she might actually like you too? Hearing this, Mason glared at me. No. He looked at the 5 wedding dresses in front of us, shook his head with a sigh, and then asked me, Any of these catch your eye? Only then did I remember to look up. The first thing I saw, I immediately fell for the wedding dress right in the middle, covered all over in diamonds. The design was full of romance and elegance. Under the lights, the light refracted by the diamonds made you think of the brilliant sparkle of stars and the sea. Seeing me stare at that dress, unable to look away, Mason waved his hand in front of my face. Go try it on. Marriage isn't necessarily every girl's dream, but a wedding dress certainly is. From outside came the intermittent sound of Hannah's voice, with Mason replying occasionally. Finally, when I was about to come out, I heard Hannah asking him sadly, Mason, you've never been like this to me before. Why are you so cold to me now? Don't be like this, okay? Even if we can't be lovers, can't we still be friends? I stopped the assistant from pulling the curtain open and listened carefully. I certainly didn't want to be the only one at my wedding next month. You're hilarious. Should I be overly concerned about my brother's girlfriend? Friends are out of the question too. It's not appropriate. I'm getting married. You. I gave the assistant a look, and she pulled the curtain open wide. The conversation outside stopped abruptly when I appeared. Seeing the two of them and the obvious surprise in Mike's eyes as he hurried in from outside, I was completely satisfied. If you can make others stop and stare, the money was well spent. I was admiring myself happily when Mason came over and whispered to me, Why do you think those two suddenly showed up? Take some pictures, take some pictures. We look so handsome and beautiful in this mirror. Mason was being vain beside me. I was just about to take the phone to snap some shots. Mike, having snapped out of it, suddenly spoke up. You're getting married? How come I didn't know? Then, his tightly furrowed brow suddenly relaxed, and his tone eased up. Mason, Dawn might not know any better, but Dawn, you? Getting married is serious. You haven't even discussed it with Mom and Dad, and now you're just going ahead? If this gets out, what will people think? You two are just being childish. Hannah, who had looked unwell, seemed to find this reasonable and perked up a little. If Mike, Mason's own brother, didn't know about the wedding, it must be something they cooked up themselves. Bro, why don't you call Mom and Dad and ask? Mason didn't argue, just looked at him steadily. Seeing we weren't flustered, Mike turned to me, his lips pale, and asked, Is it true? Yes. He still didn't believe it. So he called Uncle and Andy right in front of us. The result was, yes, we were getting married. Under the dazzling lights, the four of us stood on opposite sides. No one spoke. Mike looked at me dazed. I stood behind Mason. The moment our eyes met, I suddenly didn't understand. If he didn't like me, why did his face go pale when he heard I was getting married? Instinctively, I clutched Mason's sleeve. He felt it, turned around, and patted me reassuringly. Can you two leave now? With that, they stared at each other stiffly. Hannah forced a smile. Dawn, didn't you say you'd let me be your bridesmaid? Back in our youthful days, Hannah, whose smile always carried a hint of shyness, had transformed into the meticulously made-up woman before me. But back then, Hannah held my hand, her eyes full of sincerity. She said, No matter which of us gets married first, we have to be each other's bridesmaid. Watch over her, accompany her as she walks towards happiness. Now, Hannah, are you still that girl who wanted to see me walk towards happiness? No, you're not. I don't know if it was thinking about the past, or truly realizing that a good friend from adulthood would never be a friend again. My heart ached with a bittersweet melancholy. I said softly, no. It felt like saying goodbye to a friend from my memories. Hannah's face instantly went pale, and she stumbled back a few steps. Dawn. I didn't know how much sincerity was in her calls of my name. It didn't matter anymore. As the wedding drew closer, we finished choosing the venue and walked out. Mason held my hand to keep it warm. We looked up at the sky. It had started snowing again. Snowflakes landed on our heads, whitening our dark hair. I smiled and looked up. He obediently looked down. I said, Kinda looks like we're growing old together. Totally does. He urged me, Such a great moment. Take a picture to remember it. Later, while cleaning out my things, I found an old group photo in a corner. It was a picture of us from a school sports day. I sat on the bed and wiped the dust off with a tissue, and finally noticed the moment when Mike and Hannah's eyes accidentally met. I thought back. She said she actually wanted me to bite the metal, but the picture got taken before she could say anything. With both sets of parents helping with the wedding preparations, most things were just about ready. The next time I saw Hannah was at my coffee shop. She was wearing a brown coat, her hair curled, looking like an elegant, sophisticated woman. Seeing me approach, she didn't seem inclined to leave. She called out to me, Dawn, I regret it. Her eyes were slightly red as she looked at me, but I remained silent. She gritted her teeth and continued, Dawn, Mason doesn't love you. If you marry him, you won't be happy. So what? I curled my lip in a sneer. Give him back to you? Aren't you with Mike? I hadn't heard from Mason that they'd broken up. My rapid-fire questions caught her off guard, and her eyes darted away. But she kept on, stubbornly. She asked me, Did Mason ever drive dozens of kilometers just to take you home? Did he ever make brown sugar water for you? Did he ever go out late at night to buy you spicy hot pot just because you craved it? Did he ever get into a fight for you? Did he ever tell you he liked you? I'm only saying this for your own good. I don't want you to ruin your happiness just to spite me. So heartfelt, speaking as my friend. Her words dripped with wanting to have it both ways. I let out a humph. What, trying to have your cake and eat it too? I am not. She vehemently denied having any such intention. Calmly, I told her, First, my home is in the north part of the city. He doesn't need to drive dozens of kilometers to take me home. Second, everything you just mentioned will happen for me in the future, except for the fighting. Also, Hannah, the fact that you can so clearly list everything he did for you shows you know exactly how good he was to you. But you chose Mike. I said, you just don't want me to be happy. It's not that you like Mike that much. It's because I liked him that you got together with him. You thrive on that sense of superiority, of winning. You know what? I saw an old photo of us. I told her slowly, emphasizing each word. I truly regret meeting you and being your friend. Let's not contact each other anymore. There weren't many people in the shop at that time. After I had taken a few steps, Hannah's voice came from behind, almost maniacal with laughter. Dawn, just admit it. You're jealous of me. You're jealous that Mason liked me, and even Mike, the one you love to death, loves me to death. You get nothing. Just then, a waiter came over with an iced Americano. I picked it up and threw it. Ah! She let out a piercing scream. Feeling clearer now, I took a napkin and wiped my hands, giving the waiter an apologetic smile. Sorry about that. No problem, boss, you did great. With that, the waiter scurried back inside. Dawn, how dare you do this to me? Hannah was a mess now, her delicate features twisted with rage. Keep barking, and the next one will be hot, I said with a smile, then turned and walked inside. At lunch, I told Mason about what happened in the morning. His face darkened, and his tone was impatient. Tell me, are they crazy? They really are. At the company, Hannah's got nothing better to do. She's been staking out the building all day, trying to run into me accidentally. At home, my brother just glares at me and asks why we're getting married when we don't even like each other. I'd had a peaceful few days, but I had no idea so much was happening on his end. Why didn't you tell me? Oh well. He scratched his head, looking pitiful. I saw you coming home and crashing straight into bed every day because of the wedding prep. I didn't want to bother you with those two weirdos. Exactly. Some people always prefer what's outside their own bowl, wildflowers. They don't like things that are clean and straightforward. I rested my chin on my hand, watching his troubled expression, and asked him, You have no feelings left for Hannah now? 5 years, you know. Suddenly, his expression changed. Dawn, I'm warning you, if you dare leave me standing at that altar alone, you're dead. Hey, someone's an impatient king. I said. I was just asking. How could I? I didn't get a second glance from him after 5 years. How could I expect him to like me in just 1 month? Well, isn't that obvious? He pouted. How do you figure? Can't figure it out. Maybe it's. You talk to God, you're seeking faith. God talks to you, you've got problems. He suddenly came out with this nonsensical line, and it took me a second to process. He laughed. Brain freeze. Huh? I asked. Is that some new meme? I'm taking you gaming tonight. You play Zhongliang. Ooh. I glanced sideways at him. One day I was out late with some old friends, had a bit to drink, and was feeling tipsy. I was lying on the sofa when, in a dream, someone started pounding on my doorbell like crazy, like it was urgent. Suddenly, I snapped back to consciousness and slowly opened my eyes. The doorbell was ringing for real. Huh. So it wasn't a dream? I stood up, a bit unsteady, held onto the wall, and staggered over. The moment I opened the door, I saw Mike. What bad luck. Mom always said weddings are happy occasions, and happy occasions shouldn't be tainted by bad luck. I frowned and tried to close the door, but Mike grabbed it. His eyes were red, and he asked me through gritted teeth, Dawn, are you serious? Are you really going to marry Mason? Have you thought this through? He loves Hannah. You won't be happy together. His expression was pained. Dawn, I don't want you to ruin your own happiness just to spite me, just to get back at me. Hearing this, I narrowed my eyes, swallowed the bile rising in my throat, and enunciated every word clearly. I am serious. I am going to marry Mason. I have thought it through very clearly. Mason is good to me. You two never wanted to take photos with me. You were always a buzzkill when we went out, always blaming me for choosing bad places. He always defended me against you. He's willing to take photos with me. He never gets impatient with me. I can too. He suddenly said this to me, very urgently. I don't know what state of mind Mike was in when he said that. He kept talking. Dawn, really, I regret it. Before, I didn't recognize my own feelings. But later, when I heard you were marrying Mason, it hurt so much right here. I was so scared. I never imagined what my life would be like without you. Ugh. I finally couldn't hold it in and threw up all over him. Ugh. So disgusting. Ugh. He stopped mid-sentence, his face a picture of disgust. Oh, bro, so sorry about that. I don't know when Mason had arrived. A hint of schadenfreude in his smile. And you, coming to see your future sister-in-law late at night like this. If someone got the wrong idea, wouldn't that be bad for Dawn? Mike's eyes widened in disbelief, but before he could say anything, Mason shut the door in his face. In the bathroom, Mason gently wiped my mouth and the mess on my clothes with a towel, his gaze soft. I grabbed his clothes and mumbled, "When did you get here? How long were you watching? How much did you hear?" He chuckled softly, his chest vibrating. "I got here just as you opened the door." "Oh." Under the bright bathroom light, he suddenly asked me, "When was that thing you just mentioned?" My mind was a bit fuzzy. "What?" "The photo thing." "Oh, lots of times. Every time we went out, weren't we the ones finding the places? They were always unhappy. I wanted to take photos, the scenery was so beautiful, but they said they were tired, said the places I picked were crap. Boo-hoo. If you're so tired, don't come out to play. Sleep in. Drink coffee in a cafe. Why agree to come out?" Mason soothed me, stroking my face. Don't cry, don't cry." Suddenly, I looked up. The man's expression was gentle. I motioned for him to lean down. He smiled and brought his ear close to my lips. I said pitifully, "Actually, there were so many times I didn't want to like Mike anymore. But I always remembered the time he rode a crappy bike to buy me a new dress, and I'd think, just hold on a little longer, just a little longer." Mason silently patted my back. I continued. "Another reason was, we said we'd pursue them together.